This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carannante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carannante. It's great theater, folks. The New York Yankees deliver great theater every night, every series, every week. It's also bad theater. It makes me feel bad to watch it. It's bad. They do the same stuff over and over again. We get on here and we talk about how we just saw them do it against a different team. And here's like a new running theme of like, we'll watch them do the same nonsense against a different team and be like, well, what are you going to do? That team's just kind of a wagon. Like, they're on fire. And then that team that beat us will go play someone else and get their ass kicked, like the Marlins just did against Houston. And it's like, well, maybe not. Maybe the Yankees are just not very good. Maybe they're just getting run over by teams that are fine. The American League is full of teams that are fine. And so Devin Williams blown save in the opener, a road extra innings loss because obviously. Devin Williams loss in a 0-0 game in the second game, and then hanging on for dear life, kind of a miracle win with Yerry De Los Santos getting out of a big jam and David Bednar going 5 outs, 5 Ks for the save, 42 pitches, first Yankee to do that since Goose Gossage in 82, a 5-out save, all Ks. That's a very good thing. And the Yankees maybe have found their closer. And if you want to look at this through rose-colored glasses, the worst point of the 2024 Yankee season was a closer meltdown in Texas, a Clay Holmes blown save that lost him the closer role. And then that team, like 4 weeks later, started a playoff run that sent them to the World Series, which we never saw coming. And Thomas even wrote an article that has come up in plenty of my searches this week that was like, they proved they're not a World Series team today. And then they proved like a couple weeks later that they were, although they were a World Series losing team. Of course, the non-silver lining is that after that rock bottom, they went to the World Series and then found 2 new rock bottoms. So pretty bad. But ironically, 2 years in a row, they go to Texas and they have an absolute closer meltdown and a predictable one. And last year there was a come to Jesus moment afterwards. And this year there might have been one as well, because I don't think Devin Williams is the closer anymore. Shouldn't have been a week ago, but I don't think he is now. And we'll talk about that, the spiral. If Aaron Boone is really feeling the heat, he managed for his job yesterday. If it was worth it to save his job, what do you want to do? Do you want to get into the playoffs? But what's the goal now? Another spiraling team that probably deserves a little more heat. And are we worried about moving too quickly on Aaron Judge? A little bit. All that and more with Thomas Carannante. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. How do I feel about the Yankees? The same as I've been for 3 months. You don't win a series finale and have that change everything, especially when you lose the series.
We've been talking a lot about how it feels like 2021, and it does.
Yeah.
But it's funny because what they did that year was they'd take the first 2 and you'd be like, okay, are we back? And then they would lose the third game of the series in the worst manner you've ever seen. So you'd go into a podcast being like, fresh off getting the Band-Aid ripped off. This year, they sort of do the exact opposite. The first 2 were, a meltdown and an Aaron Boone decision for the ages. And apparently, according to some people, Aaron Boone can do no wrong at this point. It's just on the players, which there is such a boomerang that I can't keep track. But then they win the third one. It's kind of rousing. You got this David Bednar moment that might mean something, might mean nothing. Cool. And you're coming home to play Houston tomorrow. This is the best off day of all time. I'm so glad we have an off day. And the vibes are a little bit higher than they would have been if they had even if they'd won the series in Texas and the Devin Williams game was the third one, they'd be getting booed tomorrow. Now they're going to have to actually do something bad to get booed tomorrow.
Yeah, look, I do to an extent, slightly understand people saying, oh, well, how can you blame Aaron Boone? Because there is a concerted effort here with the constant meltdowns, right? And we've been talking about it ad nauseum. It's the inability for this team to play in. Again, they are not a team. I think that is the point that I'm always trying to make. Mm-hmm. It is a collection of talented players with no direction, no plan, no message, no philosophy. And that's what, when you are 61-54 and you are supposed to be, and you were the World Series runner-up last year, you are just simply not a team. You are a collection of guys who are there to play baseball. Because you can't tell me that the inconsistencies that we're seeing on a nightly basis define what a cohesive unit is. The offense works, the pitching breaks.
Mm-hmm.
The offense, it's everything. So you get decent offensive contributions in that opener, right? 5 runs, and then your closer can't get the job done. And it's not just the closer could not get the job done, right? Because look, the Devin Williams stuff, it's difficult. He's in a place where he's clearly not a fit. It is what it is. Like, is he to blame? Absolutely. Are the Yankees to blame? Also, absolutely. Like, was there more background research into how he handled high leverage situations despite the surface level numbers being good? I don't know. Was there any research into his personality? I don't know.
The new market inefficiency apparently is trading for all-star closers right after they have their life-altering playoff meltdown.
Exactly. But was there any thought to that? Was there any thought to, Devin Williams is a target for us, but that was the worst playoff meltdown we've seen in quite some time. So
is this going to linger? Should we wait till mid-season to take the Brewers up on this offer? And if the Dodgers outbid us, should we just let them go get him? Because there's a real unanswered question here about the mental fragility of Devin. And there wasn't one before last October, and now there is. And the Yankees were like, whatever, worth it. And it has not been worth it. I've never seen a closer have less confidence. Yeah. And I'm growing to hate Devin Williams, and it's bumming me out because he got me so psyched on so many of his redemptive appearances. I'm thinking about the escape in extra innings against San Diego in May.
The Orioles outing.
Yeah, beginning to turn the corner a little bit. And a lot of this came in the 8th inning and in a setup role. And they just did not learn their lesson. They returned him to the closer role. He was the biggest shocker of the year, I think. Two biggest shockers were that he saved opening day, based on what we know, that he didn't melt down against his former team and he got out of it. And the second biggest shocker is that when Luke Weaver went down, he returned to the closer role and held it down and was not an issue. And that was a great month. But we're just at a place where he's lifeless right now, man. Yeah. And he's still being used in a bullpen with 4 closers as the closer. And it just couldn't be clearer that he needs a break and a foot off the gas pedal, or maybe even a phantom IL stint, giving all the names that have to come back.
Completely agree. And I don't think anybody did. The crazy part is that we get on here and nobody really disagrees with anything. The fans in general are not sitting there and they'll be like, oh no, Devin Williams absolutely has to be the closer.
He's like the one guy who nobody has an FIP to prove to me that he should be the closer. Like, there isn't one person who's like, actually, his expected hard hit has been no, everything's bad and he shouldn't be the closer anymore.
And it speaks to a larger issue, right? So it's one thing to come in and blow a save because, you face the heart of the order, which is what happened on Tuesday. But we'll get to that in a second. On Friday, I'm willing to blame everybody. Why? Because the Yankees chased a starter from the game, had him on the ropes, and then let the bullpen take over. They go 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position, let opportunity slip after opportunity slip after opportunity slip to get them to this position, right? And then, again, the cohesive team aspect. So if you were a cohesive team and you are the offense, for example, and you are running hot, you get off to a fast start after having, trouble. They just had trouble against good pitching against the Marlins, against 2 very good starters.
Yeah.
After an offensive explosion on Friday that resulted in heartbreak because, again, the pitching failed to step up. But if you're the offense and your team is in dire straits, Jason Dominguez is lifeless at bat with the bases loaded. Can't happen. Jazz Chisholm coming up right after that, poking at an outside pitch to pop it up. Just can't happen. I'm not asking for a grand slam there, just better at bats because at this point, the onus is on you. Offense is off to a fast start, 3-0. You have the bases loaded with 1 out. Get more runs. And this is what this team never does. They do not push the envelope. They do not step on the throat. So that's problem number 1. Yeah. Problem number 2 is Aaron Boone obviously going to Devin Williams in this spot. And that speaks for itself. I don't think that needs any more elaboration because of what we just talked about. But the bigger problem with Williams and his lack of readiness and his lack of whatever it might be, fire, is that you come in, the body language is terrible. You smell, you look at his face and you could smell the fear.
Yeah.
some of his pitches that he's throwing, it looks like he has absolutely no control over it. Like, he has no grip on the ball. He doesn't even know what he's throwing. And then you talk about giving up the game-tying home run to literally the worst qualified hitter in the league. I think it's Jock Peterson and Michael Conforto.
Yeah.
Those are the two guys.
And everybody's yelling at, like, how can you do that to Jock Peterson, though? And yes, I hear you. Like, how do you let Jock Peterson beat you? Go back and look at the pitch that Jock Peterson hit out. Like,
I don't even know what that pitch was. I've watched it on repeat 10 times. Did he invent a new pitch for this?
Devin Williams' changeup is like a historic pitch. It has a nickname. Like, and then in that situation, we're seeing what the Devin Williams changeup is right now with the lack of conviction behind it. It's heart of the plate, 84 mile an hour, just on a tee for Jock Peterson. So how can the Yankees let Jock Peterson beat them? Like, man, we have the worst luck. It's not luck in that situation. Like, that you gave him the meatiest meatball.
Yeah, you look like you gave the hitter who was in the dungeon the only pitch he needed to escape.
Michael Kay and David Cohn, that it's a 1-run game in the ninth. We've seen blown save after blown save this year, right? So the tension is high. You got to be nervous if you're a fan watching, or if you're an announcer. You got to set the stage. Okay, 1 down, 2 to go, or whatever. And they're so unconcerned with Jock Peterson. They're basically like, this guy looks fat. Like, that's the level of commentary in a 1-run game where 1 swing ties the game. And that's the person that they put the tying run on a tee to. And he made him pay.
Yeah, and look, like that was what happened there. And then Aaron Boone going to Jake Bird. I mean, to me, that's fireable, but we can't talk about that because it'll never happen, and B, people will say that that's the wrong take. But you watch Jake Bird do this in Miami. I don't know why you think the situation would be. The Rangers have the second best offense in the league for, like, I think the last month and a half. They're tied with 5 runs a game, and like there's no connection as to how to mitigate that.
Well,
like,
Jake Bird's sinker stinks, and Josh Young crushes sinkers. Jake Bird's sweeper is good. The Rangers hit like 169 off sweepers, and the 1-1 pitch is a sinker right over the heart of the plate. We've also just retired 2 batters in a row with the automatic runner on second, and that's when we decide to take him out of his rhythm and go put the extra man on base. Like, we're that scared of Wyatt Langford after getting Marcus Semien to, like, with a historically troubled strikeout. Like, the cut that Semien took should empower him to finish the inning, and he gets Garcia, and it kind of did. And then we put a pause in his rhythm, and then we put Wyatt Langford on base because, God forbid, we repeat last year's game where Wyatt Langford walked us off with a grand slam, and then Josh Young walks us off with a 3-run homer. There's blame that can go around in this game that people don't. I'll briefly blame Max Fried.
That was my next point.
Yeah, post blister Max Fried.
It's the worst. It's the worst stretch of his career. Max Fried, this was July 23rd. Max Fried has allowed 17 earned runs over his last 4 games, tied for the most runs he's allowed in any 4-game span in a season in his entire career.
And I don't know if he's healthy, and I doubt he is, but he set the Yankees up for this game with 5 innings when they needed 7, and they had to go to a guy like Jake Bird in the 10th because they went to all their dudes before them.
Yeah, wait, sorry. This is the more updated set. Max Fried had allowed 21 runs over his last 5 games. That's the most runs he's allowed in any 5-game span in his career. That was before Monday, and then he allowed 4 more runs. And you're watching him pitch, and you are wondering if there's an injury because every curveball is hanging, and the release point is incorrect. It's like floating so far outside to right-handed pitchers, and it's left out in the other batter's box. But, there's also the argument with, like, him and Carlos Rodon of late. Attack hitters. You are good pitchers. Stop dancing around hitters. Carlos Rodon's inability to handle the bottom of the lineup. Insanity. Max Fried, don't know what's going on with him recently, but I understand why he might get a pass in the eyes of a lot of Yankees fans because 17 other issues cascaded in this game, but his performance has been unacceptable for over a month now. And if he's injured, then guess what? Get off the field. like, take the IL stint. I don't know what to tell this team, but trotting out an injured Max Fried is not doing anybody any good because clearly they're wasting starts from a quality pitcher who should be giving them that 6 to 7 inning length. or else there's no point to Max Fried, in my opinion. Like that, those are the stakes this year. Carlos Rodon and Max Fried need to step up, and if they're not, the rest of the pitching staff is going to suffer greatly. And like, is that fair? No, but you're both making like almost $30 million a year. So it just comes with the territory. It's also on the Yankees to figure it out. I had somebody on Twitter was wondering if Austin Wells is concussed. I don't know, but something's happening. It's some of the worst hitting we've ever seen. So, like, is this the Yankee? Again, it's conversations we shouldn't be having. Why should I be imagining there's something wrong with Max Fried? Like, that shouldn't be a thought in my head unless there is something visibly, like, tangibly wrong. But, like, there's been a previous issue that's maybe lingering. It can't be a blister that's affecting him for now 6 weeks. That's making him ineffective. So, you look at this game, it's an abject disaster. You have 15 chances with runners in scoring position. You cash in 3 times. All of your best hitters, non-existent, irrelevant when they come up to the plate with runners on.
Best offense in baseball again too. And like, yeah, most
would love to know how. I don't know
most runs scored in the American League. But here you go. 5-4 lead. Giancarlo Stanton hits that home run. No runs scored from the 5th through the 10th inning. When you
let John Gray shut you down for 3 more innings. It's like the guy's got a fucking 6 ERA.
Yeah, when you need to score more runs, where are the runs? Like we saw the runs get scored. Then when the team needed to add on, the runs stopped being scored, and then they lost an extra innings game on the road, as they always do. You know how you prevent Devin Williams from blowing a 1-run save? Give him a 4-run lead. Like, it's not that hard. Baseball, not that hard. It's hard, but it's not that hard. And
the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst loss of the year, if not for the one 3 days before. So it's the second worst loss of the week. And it just played out like in the way everybody thought it would. And
so good.
Best offense in baseball, yeah, by runs scored, and one of the top run differential teams in the American League. I understand all of these things, and I think they're 3rd in WRC plus now. But in situations in which a manager can make a marginal difference, tactically, mindset, whatever an instruction helps, right? 1 for 33 in extra inning games on the road this year. The one was a single that didn't score a run. They scored a run on a wild pitch in Cincinnati. I don't often say this, and I don't say it lightly, but I could do that by accident.
Yes.
1 for 33 professionals in road extra inning games when the game is at its tightest and they are putting a runner in scoring position for you. We get mad at the Yankees' RISP numbers during the games, and RISP has the highest variance, and you could have a terrible month and then a great month and then a terrible month with the same guys. It's true. It's true. Every team thinks their team can hit with runners in scoring position. Every fan in every city. We're now at 4+ months of free guy in extra innings in scoring position, 1 hit in 33 at-bats. That's crazy. That's on the manager. That's whoever is preparing this team situationally for clutch time, right? I think it's fair to say Aaron Boone and the coaching staff have neglected an emphasis on that element of clutch time. Or we've found a group of people that just cannot handle it. Also possible. I was stunned. You said earlier, no one is arguing against Devin Williams being a problem or Devin Williams not being able to be the closer anymore. I found like a group of rabid wolves this week that just seem to think that every bit of player malfeasance is on the player and not the manager, and B, will like haughtily tweet errors and blown saves from other teams and sarcastically blame it on the manager because they're like, this is what you sound like when you complain about Aaron Boone, like the Mason Miller blown save being like, how can Mike Schilt do this? Or like the Dodgers making a weird fielding error yesterday to blow that lead against the Cardinals. How could Dave Roberts do this? The consistency with which the Yankees do it, guys, is the problem. You can clip any one error and beg for the manager's head, or you could realize that the Yankees have a below average ability in clutch moments to field the ball, to hit the ball, to advance runners, to take it in. And they're quoting like, Jason Dominguez scoring on that dribbler that got away from the third baseman yesterday. Oh, Aaron Boone, congrats on his great coaching that gave Jason Dominguez the instincts to make this great base running play. They're outliers. That's a fine play. The ball rolled away and he scored. That is not a counter to the idea that Aaron Boone and the Yankees coaching staff seem underprepared for big moments and spotlight moments. And it's also definitely not a counter. Devin Williams' poor performance in the second game. Yeah, it's on him. It's always on him. The player bears responsibility, and managers' decisions look better when a player comes through. Duh. Welcome. Logic and reason. But it's on Aaron Boone to know that that's a man who can't see the field there. Nothing of the game. Mark Leiter Jr. blows it. Is anybody equal? Like, you have to spare a spiraling player. Devin Williams can't come in back-to-back games. After the blown save on he didn't come into the meltdown in Miami for a reason, right? Because they didn't want to overburden him with 3 games in 4 days. That's why all the newbies came in. You should have gone to Luke Weaver, but you stayed away from Williams because you didn't want to overuse him. He blows a save in the opener. It's 0-0 in this game. You've got Bednar warming, and thank God he didn't come in. But you've got Mark Leiter Jr. You've got Tim Hill. You know, what are the odds of the Yankees winning this game? Are they high? No, they have 2 hits in the game. They don't do anything against Nathan Eovaldi. But bring in Mark Leiter Jr. He gives up a tie-breaking home run, right? Everyone's not happy, but it's not back page tabloid, you're on the hot seat. Don't bring him in. He's just sort of flipping the ball up there, walk after the Jason Dominguez misplay. The bases are loaded with 1 out. He's got to come out, guys. It's on the player, but then it's on the manager. You had 2 opportunities to show that you have a feel for how to get a Major League Baseball game to the finish line within 5 minutes of one another. You made the wrong decision twice. We are allowed to say that about a manager. You're allowed to say that. Sorry, you are. It's on the player. Devin Williams, if he had executed, we would be having a different conversation maybe. But it's on the manager to know he's unlikely to execute.
Well, and then how about the pregame comments? Because even after the game, Boone didn't say anything about making a change at closer or anything like that. Then before the game, he said it's going to be more of a fluid situation, closer by committee. And yes, by definition, Saturday, why do I keep saying that? Tuesday was not a save situation. It wasn't a closing situation. It was the 8th inning. But as we have learned over the years, there is a difference between high leverage in the 8th and high leverage in the 9th. It's interchangeable. So if it's a tie game where your offense got, and again, another shout out to the offense. Nathan Eovaldi, if we sniff the Rangers in the playoffs and they throw DeGrom and Eovaldi, goodbye.
Yeah.
Eight innings of 1-run ball for both of those guys, and we lose those games 4-1.
This is how they won the World Series.
Yeah.
Like, these are tough guys to hit.
Look forward to that, because we just had a preview of it against the Marlins. They faced 2 good pitchers, couldn't do anything, couldn't even dream of doing anything. And this is what they do when they continue to spiral. It's beyond predictable. And that's where it gets troublesome, because when you can point out, oh yeah, like this is not even going to be close, and they prove you correct again and again and again, organizational issue. But Boone says before the game, yep, we're going to look to, move Devin out of more save situations, and we're going to get some other guys in the mix. The 8th inning on Tuesday was the closest thing to a save situation that wasn't the 9th inning up by a run facing the heart of the order. It was a tie game in the 8th inning on the road against the heart of the order when your offense had registered 1 hit. So on what planet do you come up with the plan to bring in the guy from the night before who blew the game against one of the league's worst hitters to now face the heart of the Rangers order, which again has been the best offense tied for the best offense in baseball, or the second best offense in baseball for the past 5 weeks? That's managerial malpractice. Because if you can't decipher the difference between that and a 9th inning save, then you are not on this planet. And everybody said the same thing. Everybody on social media said the same thing. The broadcast said the same thing. Jack Curry after the game said the same thing. Mm-hmm. This is not just random fans like finding a new thing to be mad about. And again, we talk about it every week. We know those people exist. We laugh at it half the time. We know that it's always going to be part of fandom culture. It's what kind of this country's all about, unfortunately, in some respects. But now it's, again, we had the Boone conversation about 3 weeks ago when Ken Rosenthal wrote that big column about what to do with Aaron Boone. When is the point to start blaming him? So, like, now it's reached national media. And then you have, after this game, Jack Curry, who never rocks the boat, who is arguably the most trusted source in all of the Yankees universe, is saying, yeah, in the most non-inflammatory way, yeah, I'd like some answers as to why this was the bullpen choice for two reasons. One, because we just talked about how thrusting Devin Williams into save situations was going to be de-emphasized moving forward, and the night after you do it again. And then secondly, after Williams loads the bases, David Bednar is ready to go. Mark Leiter Jr. is ready to go. Would I have flipped my living room table if Mark Leiter Jr. came in? Most likely. I would have. But if you warmed up David Bednar, and you're right, thank God he didn't come in, because then we don't have yesterday's result, and then maybe we're looking at a clean sweep. So, like, yeah, cool. Thank God we didn't make a smart decision, because it might have fucked us the next day. Like, that's the headspace that we're in. But if Jack Curry is saying, I don't understand the logic for warming these guys up, your closer, who blew the game last night, is now way in over his head after walking Jock Peterson again. He walked Jock Peterson, who again has a .260 on base percentage, and also walked. There was another egregious walk in here. Jason Dominguez. That was the other managerial malfeasance. Jason Dominguez playing left field against the heart of the order. If Devin Williams, if one of two things needs to happen, either Devin Williams does not come in, or Devin Williams comes in and you make a defensive shift. I understand that's a little bit harder now because you had Austin Slater go down and Aaron Judge isn't playing. Mm-hmm. But if you believe in Jose Caballero as a right fielder, then you put Cody Bellinger in left, you put Trent Grisham in center, and you put Caballero in right. Jason Dominguez's attempt at the Adolis Garcia double, they were saying in the postgame it's an incredibly hard play. I don't know, man. If it hits you in the glove and you stab at it awkwardly and you got a bad jump on it, like that's just not a good play. Yeah. And we've seen him struggle with those types of plays all year long. So you have double managerial malfeasance right there by not having the right personnel, again, in a 0-0 game at the heart of the order up. And then you have a 10-pitch at bat with Rowdy Tellez, who's like been DFA'd by 3 teams. So again, I don't know. If the Adolis Garcia line drive is caught, I think we're having a different conversation. But as we've seen with Devin Williams, when one thing goes wrong, everything just spirals out of control. So Garcia gets the double, Peterson walks, Langford walks, and then you're scared to attack Rowdy Tellez, which results in him getting a hitter's count, fouling off a bunch of pitches, and then dumping one into center field, and now the game's over. So there was a lot to parse through that, and it seemed like the blueprint was fairly obvious when you were going into that 8th inning with how to approach it, given what had just happened. And I get like some of the logic where it's like, all right, well, if I go to Bednar in the 8th, then who am I going to in the 9th? Is it Williams? Like, I don't know. Here's my other argument. Why are we treating Luke Weaver like a second-rate citizen? Why? He's been good. Has he dispelled all of the issues with him so far this year? No, there's still some concern there. I think we've been fairly honest about his production. He's been fairly honest about his production, which has been great. But bringing him in the 6th, like, shouldn't that be Williams' spot if the night after he blows a save and you need to have a soft landing for him? Shouldn't that be a Mark Leiter Jr. inning? Just in theory, like, I don't know. I'm asking questions because, again, if you're trying to rearrange the deck, you have to get more creative than, okay, well, then I have to throw Williams in the 8th because then if we take the lead and I throw him in the 9th, then I'm putting him in a save situation, and then I go back on my word, and it's like, no, You need to see in the 6th inning that if you are reaching the 8th inning in a 0-0 game, the stakes are the same in the 9th, in the 8th and the 9th, and whenever you go to extras. So the burden should be on you to get Williams into the game earlier if you can do that, or don't pitch him at all.
Yeah, let's say Williams struggles like he did, right? In the 6th inning, then you're down 2-0 with 3 innings to mount a comeback instead of 1 in which you bombed repeatedly.
Or you have the answer for yourself. You say, this guy can't do it. So,
yeah.
and the onus is off you as the manager. You're like, I put him in the 6th, man. I just needed a clean frame. I didn't get it.
Yeah. My issue too is, and again, this is harsh, but the Jason Dominguez play is not made. He walks the next batter. He's faced 3 batters. He's faced the minimum. You can take him out. You can yank him right there. Not only do I not need to see Devin Williams face Tellez, I don't need to see him walk the second guy. 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Get him out of there. What do we owe Devin Williams? Devin Williams is not coming back next year.
Yeah.
Devin Williams is not a long-term Yankee. He's no longer a project you need to nurture. He might come back and make a statement next year with whatever team he pitches for. I would expect it. But it's a 1-year deal, and it's not with you. Like a couple weeks ago, I was thinking about the qualifying offer. I'm not considering that anymore. $20 million for Devin Williams next year accidentally. I wish him the best of luck. But he has no role on this team moving forward. It's the easiest decision they'll have to make this offseason. So what do you owe him? His confidence is going to get lower if you yank him after 3 tough batters. He's going to need a week off at this point anyway, right? Before you even consider returning him to a leverage role of any kind. So pull him after the first walk. Thank you. Good job. You have Yeri De Los Santos. You have Tim Hill. You have Mark Leiter that you could bring in before Bednar. He doesn't. There are even people talking about like you could DFA him right now, or like don't DFA him before September 1st that he doesn't wind up on a playoff team. That's where we're at right now. I would hold on to Devin Williams. You traded assets for him, real assets, a third baseman who's put up 2+ WAR for Milwaukee. Like
worst case, you just don't put him on the postseason roster. That's it.
I think we're headed there. But yeah, keep him on the roster. Like I don't think there's anybody you need to prioritize over. You know, I would send down Brent Hedrick before I DFA Devin Williams. But yeah, for me, he's a 6th inning guy until proven otherwise, and he needs 4 or 5 more days off before he enters a situation with any heat of any kind. And so he's at his lowest low after blowing the save in the opener. He can't respond to the Dominguez misplay. He walks the next batter on 4 pitches. And at that point, that's all I need to see. How is he going to get out of this? How is he going to wriggle out of 1st and 2nd, 1 out? How does he have a higher probability of doing that than Mark Leiter Jr. doing that or Tim Hill doing that? He doesn't. So he leaves the game right then and there. How'd you let him face Tellez with the bases loaded? How'd you let him face the batter before Tellez? How'd you let him load the bases? The scoreless tie is already pretty close to broken by the time the bases are loaded. Give yourself a chance. 1st and 2nd, 1 out, take him out of the game.
I look at the entire situation as just misreading the room. And I don't know, again, I don't know how to better explain it. It's tough because I listened to Boone on Talking Yanks yesterday, and it just couldn't make it any more clear that there is not a grasp on anything, because he gets asked a basic question where it's like, hey, like, this is a tough stretch, right? Like, how are the guys handling it? And there's just silence for 5 seconds, and then there's stumbling over words for another 10 seconds. And then there's a generic answer where it's like, well, we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We got to get over this. And it's like, but it very much seems like you're feeling sorry for yourselves and you're not getting over it, because this is where we're at. It's the closest to rock bottom that a contending team will get to. And I don't think there's that realization. I don't think that there's like, even John Boy asked him, he was like, hey, like, is there any like strategy during this time of like intense strife? Because like you look back on other things, like Joe Madden used to bring in like zoo animals and magicians to like lighten the mood. He referenced like the 04 Red Sox doing shots of whiskey and stuff like that. And Boone's just like, yeah, you know, like nothing really like that. And it's like, all right, man, like, why don't you tell us what is maybe going on then? Because you have nothing to lose. I would rather hear like next to nothing is going on rather than just imagine what is going, because now it's open to interpretation as to what the Yankees are doing behind closed doors. Now that, again, we've experienced a summer breakdown for like the third year in a row, fourth year in a row, or whatever it is. So the fact that there's still a lack of candor, there's still a lack of honesty, there's still like an incredulous vibe whenever the Yankees, Aaron Boone, are asked a question about, hey, like, what's going on? The world is watching. The world is digesting something incredibly different. And it seems like you guys are not doing that. And then it's just denial, or it's, well, we can't get too high or low on emotions. And it's like, okay, again, seems like you're getting too low on emotions, because if you weren't getting too low, you wouldn't keep losing for 3 months straight. And that's what's happening. So more so than anything, it's a combination of things. I don't think that there is the killer. And like, you have Boone's comments on Bednar yesterday, where he's like, yeah, that's a dog mentality. And it's like, okay, great. Why are we getting that quote on August 6th from a player who has been here for 6 days?
And why'd you try to take him out?
Yeah. And why'd you try to take him out? And why haven't I heard of anybody else having a dog mentality over the last 3 months when everything was falling apart? Why hasn't there been a single instance of somebody trying to dig this team out of the depths? Like, every win that this team has had since then was either just a sigh of relief, like, whew, thank God we won that one, or it was just something completely uninspiring, like almost like a mistake win in a baseball game. You play so many baseball games that, like, statistically you can't lose them all. Yes. And that's what the stretch since Memorial Day has been. It's like, oh yeah, the Yankees, like, they won 2 out of their last 6, because, like, you can't go 0-6 over and over and over again. And what again, when is the last time, I'm genuinely asking, because I've actually watched the most I've ever watched over the last 3 months, and I cannot pull one game out since Memorial Day weekend that was like a complete top to bottom team victory, where it was like starting pitching did the job, maybe bullpen faltered a little bit in the middle, offense gave the starter the lead, offense took back the lead or distanced themselves from the bullpen mistake, and then the bullpen shut it down at the end of the game against, again, like a quality opponent. I'm not talking about digging out of a hole against the Rockies or the Marlins. Come and dig into the depths of your soul to beat one of these teams. I'm talking about like an actual legitimate competitor where you felt like, I guess, maybe salvaging the Dodgers sweep, if anything, in early June. Mm-hmm. But then at that point, you could pinpoint that as the beginning of everything truly falling apart. But that's it for me. Like, winning yesterday, again, a sigh of relief. Like, they were not in a good position yesterday. They again didn't hit with runners in scoring position. They had 5 opportunities. They got 1 hit. They had Jack Leiter on the ropes. They didn't score when they needed to. They got 2 runs out of it. 1 was unearned because of a throwing error by the catcher. And yes, they chased Leiter from the game, but then they let, the next guy come in and throw 2 2/3 scoreless. So it's like they essentially had a quality start. 6 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned. And then they get a late homer from Goldschmidt, which, thank God, again, just a thank God moment. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like let's go. It was, like, if that didn't happen, I don't know where I am in a couple hours. I don't know.
Shit. Oh, now we have a 1-run lead in the late innings. Now I don't get to disconnect a little bit. I have to pay attention because now we have to win this game.
Yeah. And then you're worrying about, okay, what are the bullpen calls going to be now that we finally have the lead? And look, thank God for David Bednar, because that's a top 3 coolest moment of the season so far, if not the coolest. And it gives the Yankees at least some sort of positive headspace on an off day today before they got to take on the Astros, which is probably going to go horribly wrong for them. So, I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of problems that are going ignored by the team or are not candidly addressed by the team, and it's all coming out in the play. And there's not much. Again, it's been the same conversation for almost 3 months now. So we're not breaking ground on new talking points here. We're not providing, like, what analysis do you want from the last 2 weeks? I don't know. There's none to be had. The same analysis is the team doesn't play like a team. The players who need to step up don't step up, so on and so forth. Like, you go back to the loss against the Marlins on Friday. Carlos Rodon losing it all against the bottom of the lineup and only giving the team 5 innings when he's up 6-0. Like, no, not acceptable. Sorry. Like, I understand the Marlins have been playing good baseball, but you had it on a silver platter. You didn't get the job done. Max Fried on Monday, you got an early 3-0 lead. You're supposed to just keep the game within check and not keep ping-ponging it back and forth. And I know pitching's hard and I know the game's hard, but it's just another example. And we can go through each of these games inning by inning and show that a new individual or new character failed to deliver in a certain moment, and then it becomes an overarching theme. And then you're wondering, okay, what's going on? And that's why everybody circles back to Aaron Boone, because, again, new players every year, new roster, last 4 years, 2 new coaching staffs since 2020. Same problems persist. That's it.
Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez, Friday night, Saturday afternoon. Best of luck. I don't know how this keeps happening. Like, you wonder why we were so mad after the first game of the Rangers series, because Nathan Eovaldi is the next day. You know, why are we so mad about everything that comes before? Because you're facing 2 pitchers you're probably not going to hit on Friday and Saturday. So then, like, Cam Schlittler's got to be perfect. Luis Heel has to be perfect. Yeah. Nice to be home and not on the road, but my God, this team continues to get hit with this shit. And the Red Sox have been on fire, but they play the Royals. No Noah Cameron, no Seth Lugo. Like, I don't even know who they're beating up. They're just beating up faceless MLB The Show guys. And then Michael Wacha beats them yesterday. Thank you for that. But Red Sox did beat Brown and Valdez, and there's no way we're going to do that or repeat that feat. And Aaron Judge at some point is going to force himself back into the outfield for this team. Could you not do that? Like, it's not going to happen in this series, but there's a hint that it could happen in the next one. It's a shame that we're losing Giancarlo Stanton. Shame isn't even a strong enough word. It sucks. It's more terrible luck for this team that you can't play Judge and Stanton at the same time anymore. But he throws yesterday for the first time and says, how does it feel? Oh, it's sore. You know, it feels like when you got a sore hammy, you're working it out. Doesn't feel like that same injury, but yeah, you got some soreness there. Great. Stop throwing. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, stop throwing, and definitely don't go play the outfield where you're going to have to uncork some throws if it's a little bit sore playing catch. Like, we miss you. We definitely miss Aaron Judge in the outfield. But we'll miss him a lot more if he fights through something he shouldn't be fighting through and makes it way worse. So I can deal with injury. Plenty of stuff derailed this season before Aaron Judge got hurt. Season was already off the rails. They were struggling with him. They're struggling without him. They're struggling after he's returned to DH. Yep. Their best series in the last 2 months was when he wasn't there against the Rays.
Crazy. Correlation,
not causation. But, like, don't force yourself back into the outfield mix and aggravate what you've got going on. Just, like, let the season play out the way it's playing out. Let the chips fall where they may. Do not make a mountain out of a molehill. Do not make something out of nothing here.
I mean, that'll be the end of the season. So if he wants to rush back and re-aggravate whatever, like that will be at least the official end, and we will know the fate. I don't want that. Look, I'm not confident in the team, but I don't want them to lose.
No.
Like, you have it's funny, the division of fans is like, you think this is Aaron Boone's fault? What are you, crazy? And then you have the other subsect of fans where it's like, hope this team loses and misses the playoffs so they could fire Boone. And it's like, that's not going to happen.
So they can pick. Again, people are poisoned by the NBA and NFL draft. Like, they're going to lose. If they lose and don't make the playoffs, they pick 18th, guys. Yeah. Like, it's not that easy. And they're going to fire Aaron Boone. They didn't fire him after 2021, 2, 3, last year's World Series. Like, it's probably not getting fired. He might. No. The seat might be hot for the first time ever.
The only reason it might be hot is because he had an out in 2023 with Judge being injured. And this time, if Judge is injured, it will be the same story. But if Judge is healthy enough to play and they don't make it, then we might be having a conversation. But again, if they haven't done it yet, why would they do it now? If they're hell-bent on having him for 10 years, they're going to have him for 10 years. Like, we don't see the Yankees make these types of decisions. Like, their type of a tough decision is like releasing Marcus Stroman and DFAing DJ LeMahieu and DFAing Aaron Hicks and trading Joey Gallo. Like, all things that have reached the point of no return that should have been done a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever timeline that you deem appropriate. And then they do it out of nowhere where it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that move needed to be made, but did it make sense to be made now? Didn't. So, like, getting rid of Aaron Boone now, does it make sense? Sure, it does, but, like, wouldn't it have been nice to see what the last 4 years could have been like differently, because you already had this same sample size of ineffectiveness and just lackluster play for the most part? So, I don't know. But either way, I think the only way his seat gets hot is through that. If Aaron Judge is still performing at close to an MVP level for the rest of the way and the team doesn't make the playoffs. That said, like I said, I'm not confident in this team's abilities. They've proven nothing to me, because while April and May were amazing, they gave it all back. And you're looking at it with like someone like Max Fried right now too. Carlos Rodon did it last year. He had a great first couple months and then he completely imploded for the next two. And the contributions ended up canceling themselves out. And you can't be a zero WAR, type. I know that's not what the stats say, but like when it comes down to it, and you deliver 12, you deliver 8 quality starts in the first 2 months, and then you are getting chased by the 4th or 5th inning for your next 10 starts, then like, what did you really do? And again, the game's hard. It's not an easy game, but these are supposed to be 2 of the top pitchers in the league, and they are not playing like it right now. But again, it's indicative of a larger theme where it's the Yankees give away all of the cushion that they've created, all of the good faith that they earned, and then it just goes back to where it was before, and then nobody has answers, and then you have the fan base divided on a multitude of topics. Like, yeah, in the back of my head, am I sitting here and I'm like, well, look, if the Yankees miss the playoffs, I guess there's a silver lining, like heads might roll in the offseason. But I'm not sitting there being like, hey, like Yankees should absolutely miss the playoffs, because then that will force changes, because that's not going to happen. But at the very least, like, you can think about it. And I think that that's also a problem. Like, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to sit here and be like, well, what if they don't make the playoffs? Then what is my offseason looking like? It should be like, no, this team should be in the playoffs because they have a $300+ million payroll and they have an MVP candidate. And they're not the LA Angels. So, like, again, I know the fan entitlement conversation comes up all the time, but it's at this point, we're not even living in the past. We just want what seems to be like acceptable. Don't be awful for 3 full months. Don't play at the level of, a middling AL Central team for 3 months. You're not that. So just figure it out. I don't know. And they have fewer and fewer answers as the problems mount. So I don't know. I don't even know what that rant was, but that's just where we're at.
Yeah, we would be cleaning up if we were in the AL Central. I can't root against the team. I never will, but I also am not at the point right now where I want to see this team and this bullpen in the playoffs. So build off yesterday, see what you've got in David Bednar, see if you've got more people who are nails versus more people who look like they don't want to be there, and figure out the roles, sort it out. I don't think too many closers is a problem. I saw people snarkily call it like the Yankees all closer bullpen. That's not bad if you know how to manage them. And it falls on Aaron Boone, falls on sorting out the pieces and figuring out the egos. I'm not seeing an ego in Bednar, Duvall, and Weaver. I'm kind of seeing an ego in Devin Williams. So or just resignation. So we'll see how it goes from this point forward. Clearly not a strong grip on a playoff spot. Clearly can't be thinking about playoff previews anxiety facing the Astros, facing the Red Sox, facing the Blue Jays. Like, there's a lot of enemies in their path.
Yeah.
We'll see how it turns out. Slightly
didn't
better
even
position.
think about this, right? Here's another layer of like the team needing to dig deep. Who's directly behind you in the playoff race coming into the series?
Yeah,
the team you're playing.
Yeah.
The exact team you're playing. That's it. And they couldn't have looked worse.
Yeah, another one, just another one. The ceiling right now is avoiding a sweep because otherwise they're winning one of three in these big series or they're getting swept. And this is just another example. And we will see the Yankees play the Astros this weekend. We will see you on Monday, 2:00 Eastern, recapping it, wrapping it all up with a bow, maybe a nice bow, maybe a shitty bow. We don't know, but it's been bad lately. It's been bad every time that we've tried to talk about whether it's getting better. So maybe it'll actually get better. If not, start minting those silver linings. I'm Adam Weinrib. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weinrib. Thomas Carannante, where can the people find you?
I am at Tommy's_takes. Come talk to me. You guys keep coming after Adam. It's every day going after Adam. Come after me. We can have fun. I'll have a good time with you. At Yanks Go Yard FS, that is the official Yanks Go Yard account on social media. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do not forget it. We remind you every episode. We appreciate you guys listening. And lastly, yanksgoyard.com. All the content is there. We are relentlessly producing it. A lot of talking points, obviously, going on in the Yankees universe that we're not discussing on here, or else we'd be on here for 3 hours and you'd hate us. So go on and read that content. We appreciate your guys' viewership. Have yourselves a good weekend. Try to, I don't know, what's the word for this weekend? Just try to exist and see what happens.
Yeah, you got the Twins next week.
Theme.
You got the Twins next week, so survive. You got to hope for some White Sox wins over the Guardians. I mean, they're in a place where they never should have been, but they're there. So try to survive. Try to win a home series against a really tough opponent. Annually tough, but worse than they usually are, but probably not when you face them. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm no more predictions. They're not in a good place. So previous shows, we've been like, I think they could take 2 out of 3 this weekend. They're not. They're set up poorly, and they're playing poorly. So try to survive. See if you can. That's all we have. And we'll see you on Monday for the Twin Series and the Astros recap.